Great news. You were always this kind of author. That's right. You've always been a popular, in demand author who absolutely is needed in the world. The only thing that changed is that you began to market, and the marketing revealed you to the world. If that hasn't happened yet, then let's make it happen today. Hi, my name is Steve Kidd. I'm a third generation minister, international best-selling author of 40 books and counting. Over the course of the last 40 years that I've been in business now, I've had the amazingly wonderful privilege of working with more than 5,000 authors, and I've helped everything from, international business people, multi-billionaires, doctors, lawyers, but also brand new startup companies, stay-at-home moms, people with new ideas that they were just bringing out into the market. At whatever level you're at, I have absolutely been there, done that, with a literal lifetime of experience in being visible and valuable, being in the media, having some of the worst times of my life, having been, a published author, doing the things, being interviewed, all those kind of things. I know what it's like. And no matter what stage you're at, I can help you be able to have and be and show up as exactly the person that you always wanted to. You knew you were meant to be, you want to be, and the whole reason why you wrote your book. I want to do that for you. I want to do that with you. I want to see the world know you for the amazingly cool, incredible, awesome person that you absolutely are. You see, marketing doesn't make you somebody new. There isn't some kind of transformational event. And don't get me wrong, I have some really great friends that I can think of. The person that immediately, of course, comes to mind is Lisa Nichols. Lisa could read you her grocery list and you would feel motivated, encouraged, and up-leveled. She's that kind of transformational speaker. But the truth is, you don't need to become somebody else. You need to become fully the you that you've always been. How do I know that? Because I know that deep down inside, you are popping out in all kinds of ways all the time. Everything from, why do you have to constantly tell your children to clean up their room or to do their chores or to do their homework? There's a reason for that. And it isn't because you're a horrible shrew or any of the things that maybe your kids have even accused you of. It's because below that, there's a reason why. So, and it could be anything, it could be, why are you passionately, all the statistics in sports, or, you have a particular political opinion and you're willing to march in the streets for that particular thing. Part of, and it doesn't really matter which side of the quote unquote aisle you're on in a particular political viewpoint, part of the problem, and I'm going to call it absolutely that, is the fact that people feel the rage, the outrage, the passion for the thing, both sides again, and really, really are willing to put themselves totally on the line for that thing. The thing that's missing in the conversation is the why. Why is that thing? Why does it trigger you? Why do you feel what you feel beneath that? So in other words, it's not a matter of, and that's the biggest problem that we're in some of these discussions. And I'm not just talking about stuff in the US because, a friend of mine that lives in Canada was just posting something. And I know that they're having issues in the UK. Any country you go to, they have people who have differing opinions. And I'm talking like militantly different in the way they feel about things. But the question really isn't the opinion. The question that isn't being asked that really needs to be is why? Why is that important to you? Not because when we do ask those questions, we stick on the periphery level. This statistic and that statistic and this news article and this kind of thing. But what I'm asking you is to go deeper. Go into yourself. Why does that trigger you? What is the heart and soul and core and passion and purpose of you that makes that something that is important to you? There are other people who it isn't. There are, people who have completely opposing opinions. Doesn't make either of you wrong. Thomas, glad to have you here with us. What it does do is it helps you be able to discover you if you use it correctly. Soccer, glad to have you here with us. The thing about it is this, okay? If you will ask yourself that deeper question, you'll begin to get to see the core of who you are. Why are you passionate about what you're passionate about? But more importantly, what is the purpose behind that? What is the solution? We can all scream and rant and rave about, all kinds of things. And the truth of the matter is, in fact, there's a psychological principle that says that when somebody, even if they present you with facts, that believes in something completely opposite of you, gets in your face about it, it tends to solidify your opinion, okay? And I'm not in a political debate here at all with you. I want you to see the why beneath that, the you that's beneath that. What is the purpose for you that makes that thing passionate for you? Now I'm going to walk away from politics because, really for the most part, I guess I don't care, but I want to use something simple like telling your child to clean up their room, okay? There can be many various different reasons why you tell your child to clean up their room. It could be that you're teaching them a skill. You want them to learn the skill of something like, there's all kinds of psychological things about making your bed. There's also some psychological things about getting to a place as an adult where you intentionally choose not to make your bed. And both of those are valid, okay? But why as a parent, why do you say that? Now, it could also be, like my first wife, where, you grew up in a household where the house was just trashed all the time for the entirety of her mom's whole entire life. And you grew up wanting a different environment for yourself. And because you're in the position of authority in that house, it's your household now, it's important for you, and you're going to, you could even say it, impose your will if you want to be that, I don't really think it's that way, but if you want to put it in those terms, you could, on the people because of the lifestyle that you want or even need. It could go deeper than that. People that have different things like OCD or things like that, stuff like that could literally be traumatizing and triggering for them. And there could be, even in something as simple as doing the dishes or, socks on the floor, there could be really deep emotional trauma. And for those of us who don't have that around it, it's easy to poo-poo that and be like, pish posh, whatever. But the truth of the matter is, hey, Matt, glad to have you here with us. I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. There could be some really deep stuff. I knew a person who had a literal traumatic experience around dishes. And I'm not going to share their stuff for why or whatever. But understanding why that upset them every time, the once to several times a day that dishes were being done, helped them make a massive shift in how they approached their life. They actually ended up later writing a book to help people learn how to turn dish time into the most looking forward to sacred time of their day. Now, I'm not saying that's what your passion or your purpose is, but what I am saying is that whatever the thing that really gets you going, that thing you can talk about for hours, and even when you get to the place where your voice is cracking and all those kind of things, you can still go on about it. You all have probably heard me talk about this enough that you know that when it comes to you knowing and clearly living in your passion and your purpose, that's it for me. And I can talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk about it, right? I know. Sometimes too much. But the why is, that's what's important. And when you identify that why for you, then you can go to the next level below. Well, why am I passionate about that? And you begin to start looking at, what can I do with it? Because most of the time, the what isn't, and we'll talk at extremes. It isn't assaulting people. It isn't abusing your children. And I'm not accusing anybody of doing that. I'm just saying that those could be the extreme levels of it. It also isn't living a traumatized life because you don't do those extremes. Those are both the extremes of it. But the what is something that allows you to know the passion that's below that, the purpose that's below that passion, and then live and find out how to use that purpose to make a difference in the world. Because there are other people. I'm going to go back to the dishes example. When the lady took a hold of the trauma that she had around dishes and began to then understand what it had done to her, why it had done to her, and as crazy even as this may seem, created a whole entire tribe of people who turned dishes into a really cool time in their day and helped people, a lot of people, deal with a trauma that 99% of the world, if you said, hey, I'm getting traumatized over doing dishes, they would probably even laugh at you. You see, you taking that thing that you're passionate about, discovering the purpose beneath it, and then finding out what you could do to make a difference in this world. And then there's one more piece of that. I kind of talked about it a little bit, but I'm going to want to tell you clearly, it's the who. Who does this what apply to? Who can I make a difference in? You don't need to save everybody. In fact, I'd rather see you maximize the day that's called today to do one specific thing for one specific person that allows you to truly live in the purpose beneath that passion rather than on the surface of that passion. Now, let's bring this back to your book, okay? Because we talked about how you've always been that amazing, best-selling, in-demand, popular, powerful author. It's always been in you. That book that you wrote was the tip of the iceberg of that. And there may be more books, or it may just be the really now understanding, why did this book need to come out of me? And how do I use it for who? That is the elements of what we put together for the then marketing, so that we can then make sure that our SEO is ultimately what that boils down to. We're optimizing it for the search engine to tell the search engine that is Amazon, the search engine that is Google, those different places where it can be found at, tell it specifically, this is what this book is about, why it's about that, and who it's for. Then they know what to do. Then when somebody searches that particular phrase, that thought, that concept, they absolutely know, oh yeah, this is the book you're talking about. Okay? And then we add to that reviews. Other people that are saying, I read this book and it really helped me. I love the one review that somebody wrote on Romeo the Suicidal Parakeet, one of my books. And he said, I didn't even know I needed a suicidal parakeet in my life. I loved that he started out that way, because he was acknowledging the fact that, he stumbled across the book, wasn't sure that he really even wanted or needed it. But as he was reading it, he got some things out of it that he discovered he really wanted and needed in his life. I love that. And I want you to have that too. And we can absolutely find those people for you. We have a whole system. So this isn't about buying reviews. There's a whole lot of places out there like, you can pay X amount of dollars and, we'll get you from 0 to 20 reviews, or different things like that. We actually physically both already have the community as well as do the work to find the people who want to read your book, get them to read the book, follow up with them. And the follow-up is really the big piece of it, and where the time, effort, energy, and cost comes in, because it takes a lot of follow-up, because you've asked some of your friends and people that that read the book, hey, will you put a review out on my book? And they're like, yeah, I'm going to do that for you. And, months, weeks, years later, they still haven't done it. Not because they're bad people, just because, they forgot. They got busy. They weren't sure exactly what or how to say it. We handle all that for you so that you can get people that read your book. And if they like your book, come back and write a legit review for you. We've even priced it so that you don't have to wonder, but you can know exactly, I'm going to get this for this. And we love doing that. We have all kinds of marketing programs designed based on outcomes versus effort. Because a cost per click or a cost per impression is based on effort kind of a model. We do ours based on result. Okay? We want you to be aligned with the success that's meant for you. Not some guru out there that's talking about, this is what success looks like. Not saying they're wrong. I'm just saying we want you to know what success for you is. That it involves that concept of knowing your passion, finding the purpose beneath it, knowing what you can use that purpose out of that passion for and who needs it. See, you're not transforming at all. You're just being the real you that you've always been. It's shown up your whole life. When you were 5, it showed up in 5-year-old ways. When you were 25, it showed up in 25-year-old ways. And yesterday, it showed up in ways too. And sometimes it feels like it's buried beneath all the noise and all the stuff and everything you've been through. But the truth is that passionate purpose of who you are has always and will always be there. And it's screaming, not for you to become somebody new, but for you to simply just show the world who you are. Step out into the you that is you and make the difference in this world that only you can make. We would love to help. If you just simply comment, DM, message me, whatever, the word review, I want to give you a free review of what you're doing right now and really help you discover that so that you are aligned, not with what I think, and not so that you're transformed into somebody that I want to make you into, but so that you can passionately, purposefully, on purpose, live and be the you that you've always been and the you that the world is screaming for and needs so desperately. Visibility doesn't change you. It just simply uncovers you to the people who are looking for you already. It's time for them to find you. I so appreciate you. This is the end of this week. We will be moving into our last week for quote unquote January. I'd have to look. I think it actually does end at the end of the day on January, which is cool because sometimes we don't, right? Next week's theme is going to be, the open window, the opportunity, the paths you can choose. And tomorrow we want to just help you quietly decide. Not want, wish, hope, guess, pray, believe, but really know clearly how to take that quiet decision and make it happen. And we're here to help you with that. I know it's really cold outside for a lot of us. I don't know about you. We got dumped on last night. We got about 6 or 8 inches of snow on the ground now. And it's like 0. My computer says it's 0 literally outside. That's not enough degrees in case anybody's wondering. unless you're a polar bear. Okay. And even then, polar bears are even going, yeah, that's a little cold, right? But I hope that you find yourself feeling really happy, that you're absolutely safe, even in the midst of all the storms, that you're warmly, deeply loved. You can snuggle with somebody, I hope. I hope that for you and wish that for you. And until we're together again next time, which again is tomorrow, I hope you have a great week.